Hello, my name is Jennifer Van Wyk, and I am a humanitarian, an aid worker, and a best-selling author. And I'm making this video because I just got back from India, and surprise, surprise, it was a life-changing trip. I almost feel ridiculous saying that because everyone has a life-changing trip when they go to India. But it was really true. This was actually the second time I've been. The first one was certainly less life-changing, but I wanted to really make this video, not just for you, but also for me, so I could really cement some of the key learnings that I acquired, or that I really was able to embody while I was there. I went for like a personal development workshop that really focuses on the body. And for me, as someone with a really massive heart and someone who's been spiritual since I was really a very young child, I was always very focused on this area because I was very spiritual, and then my heart was so big that I cut it off, so I became intellectual. I did my thesis on quantum physics, right? I was very in my mind. And then, of course, if you've seen any of my other videos, you know that now I'm obsessed with emotions and the heart. And what I've really been exploring the last few years is the wisdom of the body. And one thing I really learned personally through a number of different difficult lessons was that my body has its own incredible, beautiful wisdom that is actually separate from my emotions. It's separate from my intuition, and it's even separate from my intellect. And it's just as important. So I had gone to India to focus on this. How can I connect with people, but also using the wisdom of my body in this connection? So there were a number of things. I actually wrote down, like, what are the things I learned from this trip? And there's 15. Some of them are deeply personal. So I'm just going to share my top 3, and then we'll see. I'll see how my body feels about sharing more or other ones, or potentially even all of them. The first big lesson that I learned on the first day, and it was kind of why I went to this workshop, and that was how to connect with people. How can I deeply connect with people in a way that's nourishing for me, for them, but still respects boundaries, isn't too intense? I can be pretty intense. So how can I, connect to people in a beautiful way? And I had taken this workshop for that specific purpose, and actually after the first day, it became a moot point. I felt like I was completely able to connect. And what I learned on the first day is listen from your heart and speak from your heart. And it was just kind of this almost offhanded comment, but for some reason, it really struck me, and I really tried to embody that the whole rest of my time there. And it's really something I want to continue to embody. And it's difficult for me to embody because I can bounce up into my intellect, especially I'm a boss, I've got a big team, I'm managing, I'm making decisions, sometimes life or death decisions, depending on how intense the emergency is, really. And so I pop up here, but really, how can I just sink in, connect from my heart? I find it goes more into the subtleties of, how can you connect? There's so many thousands of different ways to connect, but then as you learn more and more, it's this little minute change or adjustment that for me can make all the difference. So that was the big one of how do you connect? The second big lesson I learned that I want to really make sure I embody and practice, and have been trying to practice in the week that I've been back in Ukraine. And it's been a really intense week. It's been record-breaking in terms of the number of attacks that have happened here. And the energy here is there's just a lot of sadness and fear in the air. So going from my love womb in India to, okay, how can I connect with people on a heart basis? And secondly is this deep form of consent. So the first 2 days of this workshop I went to, it was all about consent and how does your body feel? And again, it's these subtleties of, does this feel good? I had some interactions with people where it actually felt painful. And that was a great, that was my body really telling me that this didn't feel right, just get out of this situation. And so, yeah, just when you pay attention, there's so much information available. And I realized how often I do not really give true consent. I listen from, or I'm so concerned, and this will lead to my third point. I'm so concerned with not wanting to hurt other people. And this fear of hurting other people, which sounds like it's a nice thing, but it's actually super disrespectful for others and very egocentric. And I actually have shame about how big this fear is, although I am definitely working through it. So I'm happy about that. But when I'm so worried about hurting other people, I violate my own boundaries to try and make them better or to make them more comfortable. And that creates a really toxic, even if it's just minutely, other people can feel that, and it tarnishes the interaction that you're having with others. So really for me, it was paying attention to my body. How do I feel interacting with this person? And if I don't want to interact with that person, then I don't need to. I can interact with somebody else. And if they're upset about it, they are wise enough and strong enough and competent enough to deal with that and handle that themselves. And I don't need to fix that or prevent that or soothe that or comfort that or meddle in their garden in terms of if they're hurt or not. So that kind of brings me to the third and probably the most important lesson. This was super huge, and it's what really I spent the rest of the week really trying to face and push my boundaries and get to that edge. And that's this concept of helping or serving people, and then the shadow side of that, which is rescuing. So Dr. Betty Martin, she created this wheel of consent, and it's got 4 quadrants. I won't go all into it, but there's serving, and then who you serve is accepting. So the person who's serving is giving, and it's action-based. And the person who's accepting is receiving, like allowing, and it's not. Well, it's a little bit action-based as well. So because the acceptor is asking for service, so they're doing the action of asking for the service, and then the server is giving it to them, right? And when those are both done with true consent, then it's a really beautiful moment, right? Like when my clients ask me for assistance or for a session, and then I give that from a place of like, yes, I really want to give this. This is a full body yes. That session is like, it's beautiful. And actually that's part of why I just love my job. After I have sessions with my clients, I can't do it too late at night because I'm buzzing for 2 hours because I'm so excited. It's just such a beautiful mesh. I love to give. However, I have to be in that quadrant of serving, of genuinely being in the place where I have energy, where I have desire, where I have time, where I have space, where it brings me joy, where I really 100% want to be serving or helping. What I realized, and this kind of relates to what I was talking about previously, is I often go into the shadow side of rescuing. That fear of not hurting other people, or actually this is the really exciting thing, whenever I feel guilty, and I have a bit of a guilt complex, so that tells you how often I'm bumping out. Whenever I feel guilty, it means I'm bumping out into the shadow side of serving, or perhaps the shadow side of allowing. So the shadow side of allowing is entitlement, or actually, I don't usually bump into that, but without going into the whole concept, check it out, Dr. Betty Martin, if you want to check it out. But when I feel guilty, then that means I'm no longer in that beautiful place of serving and I'm in this obligatory rescue, I have to save or martyr, all of these aspects that it sounds like maybe it's good, but you're taking responsibility for other people's responsibilities, right? And as I mentioned, when I'm worried about hurting other people, that's deeply disrespectful of them, because it implies that they're not okay unless I make them okay, right? And that's so egotistical. The other thing I realized is when I rescue, oftentimes I want to rescue as a way to show that I have value, that I'm worth something. And then maybe if you need me and we create that unhealthy relationship, then maybe you won't leave me. Or it's covering up this fear of inadequacy that I have, that like me just serving isn't enough. I have to like give my blood, sweat, and tears for me to be adequate enough. So it's something like I've talked about, if you know anything about me. In my book, even, I talk about how I got PTSD after one of my first deployments. And that PTSD was specifically because I had bad boundaries. And this is why I always talk about the importance of good boundaries. And this was another layer, another learning of the subtleties and how often, even though I'm so obsessed with having healthy boundaries and I'm quite vigilant and I am quite aware of myself, it was just this another layer, this beautiful embodiment, like in my body, I could feel, but look I popped out that way. And when I have this fear that blocks me, not only does it get me into server, not only is it disrespecting other people, but it completely prevents me from stepping into my power or from reaching my own bliss or my own joy or my own connection to the divine. I felt it as such a ceiling, like a full brick wall, just absolutely stopped it. And it was so incredible to just feel it in my body. If I just freeze, I numb as soon as I'm worried that I'm gonna hurt other people. And so, yeah, my goal is not to become a total jerk face and hurt everybody all the time by any means. I don't think that's something I could do, but it's to, I think, and I'm still working through this, but it's really to maybe not even think so much of me and to listen to my body. And if I'm connecting from my heart and I'm listening from my heart and I'm in a place, someone asked me to assist and I feel really good that that's a good thing to do, then full stop. I don't have to contemplate, oh, what's this? No, there was that exchange. They're coming from a healthy place, I'm coming from a healthy place, and I can just trust that then there's going to be a healthy relationship. It's difficult. It's difficult because especially in the humanitarian realm, there's so many examples of us having good intentions and it having negative outcomes, right? I won't go into that because that's a whole other thing, but one of the main tenets of our work is do no harm, because you can think you're doing so much help and then actually it was detrimental. But what I really experienced was when it's detrimental is when I've flipped into rescuing, right? That is the result. Or when I'm in that shadow side, that is when I am more likely to harm people. As long as I take real responsibility and awareness of staying in the serving of, I am okay, I am healthy, I am in a good spot, I am overflowing with love that I can easily share and send out to you and would love to do so, then that's when beautiful moments and interactions come. So that's really what I wanted to share, and what I'm really kind of working on of trying to embody are some of the things. There's actually so much. Sometimes it just blows my mind how much learning and how much possibility there is in every moment to grow, and then balancing that with I am perfect as I am, you are perfect as you are, and we're just uncovering the layers that are maybe preventing us from seeing our perfection that already exists. So I hope you have a wonderful week. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments, and I look forward to interacting with you soon. Take care.